We'll continue with our personal stories this morning. And this morning I welcome John, who is going to share with us his story.
Good morning and a happy Sabbath to all of you. It's with great reluctance that I talk about myself, because from this pulpit really the Lord Jesus and God should be magnified, but hopefully we'll be able to end up there. My personal story is as follows. I am a Belgian born in Belgium of an English mother and a Belgian dad. My mother was Protestant and had to convert to Roman Catholicism in order for her to be able to marry my dad. At age 5, Dad became a Seventh-day Adventist. Since he had been having questions with the Roman Catholic Church. He'd been to a local priest, had spoken to him about his doubts about certain matters, and my dad was unfortunately unceremoniously thrown out. He then went to a second priest and still the same thing happened. So then he finally got in touch with some Jehovah's Witnesses who were clients of his, and he dipped his toe into that particular point of view. He was not satisfied, and they could quite clearly see that they were not going to convert my dad. So they concluded, and guess what they said? Mr. Dupuis, if you really want to know the truth, you need to go to the Seventh-day Adventists. So my dad followed their advice, found a Seventh-day Adventist ministry in Brussels, had a year's worth of Bible studies, after which he was baptized. My mother, however, having had to convert from Protestantism to Catholicism, which was not a very easy task for her, and that conversion did not sit well with her, said, enough change, I'm not going to be changing anymore. So she left it at that. She'd come from a Baptist and United Reformed background. So the journey continued. I was 5 years old, as I've already said, when my dad became a Seventh-day Adventist, and all of a sudden I remember the changes very well, because I had a little blue cross above my bed with Jesus on it, as Roman Catholics do all over the house, and all of a sudden my dad went round the house taking Jesus off the cross and unceremoniously breaking this thing up, and I was a little bit confused as a little boy. Anyhow, the cross remained without Jesus. I was then taken to Sabbath School, and I thought this was a great experience, being instructed through a felt sort of teaching board thing. And then there was also an interesting experience being able to play in a table upon which they had put some sand and some figures had been put in there. I thought it was all very wonderful. My mum came to church as well, but was still not convinced of the Seventh-day Adventist version of truth. So every year we came to England to see the family, to visit, and on Sabbath we went to the Luton Seventh-day Adventist Church, and on Sundays we attended Dunstable Baptist Church, where my mother had attended as a child. And there I was very deeply impressed by the spirituality, the exceptional good example of the members, the excellent sermons, the absolutely amazing prayer. I thought, hang on here, as a child I thought, these prayers are about as long as a sermon. The excellent sermons, the amazing prayers, and the very good example of the church members, all that left an indelible impression upon me and really forged my own walk with the Lord. Then on top of that, I noted the family dynamics in those church members, between husband, wife, and children, and all this kind of. It greatly impressed me. And the dignified, living dynamics of everything these people did. For instance, my favourite man there was Mr. Baker, who owned a hardware shop on Luton Road in Dunstable. In Belgium, my dad rented a large room in one of his commercial premises to a Plymouth Brethren group. And we occasionally went to church there to the meetings as well. And the same thing happened. I got a very, very positive impression. Once again, I had a great big sense of seeing that these people had a deep spirituality. And there's another thing, they had a great sense of dignified entrepreneurship. I loved that. The Andries family, for instance, were glaziers in a town called Mechelen. And the Whitman family had a watch and jeweller's shop on the Grand Place in central Brussels. So, since my dad owned a former theatre, which he used as his commercial premises, where William Booth, the founder of the Salvation Army, had preached his first sermon in Belgium, we attended some Salvation Army meetings on occasion. And we attended one of those meetings in Brussels, and as a little boy of roughly around about 13, 14, I was exceptionally impressed again. The preacher made an appeal for an altar call. I remember sitting with my parents right at the back, and I thought, I really want to go. I feel the sense of God calling me. And then all of a sudden I was gripping the sides of the chair, because I thought, but these people don't keep Sabbath. And I've come to appreciate Sabbath. How does this work? I was a little bit confused, so I didn't go forth. A couple of weeks later, in a Seventh-day Adventist setting, there was a congress for all Adventist members for the whole of Belgium held in Brussels. And once again, the same thing happened. An altar call was called for people to come forth in order to commit themselves and then on to baptism. This time, I found another excuse. I thought, well, this is such a sacred, this is such a profound moment. I don't want anyone to be looking in on this. I want this to remain, private. And so my dad was there, and I thought, I don't want him to be seeing this. So I went home, and I was a little bit disappointed with myself. As I did every evening, I knelt by my bedside and prayed. And on this particular occasion, I knelt down, and I all of a sudden developed a rather strange sense of being exceptionally unworthy, of being sinful, of having no chance of ever getting into heaven, and being very condemned. And at the same time, simultaneously, I felt very greatly loved and embraced by the Father, by God, who had forgiven me. I seemed to be enveloped. By some bubble of light and warmth, and I felt the forgiveness and presence of the Lord Jesus Christ. I once again was extremely embarrassed about this, and I didn't tell anyone about it. So, eventually, a couple of days later, I told my mother, and she had great encouragement for me, and she said, well, that's fine. I'll tell you what, if you want to get baptized in the Adventist Church, I will join you in taking lessons. And so we did, and a year later, we were baptized together. Amen. Now, what's the conclusion of all this? Because you might think this is a little bit of a strange experience, and all the other things that preceded it. Well, I still feel that I had an exceptionally inspiring and inspired father. And he taught me, he said, look, we're now Seventh-day Adventists. However, I'm going to make sure that you also get instructed in all other options of faith. And so he made sure that from the earliest age, I, in a 100% Roman Catholic country, I also went to Roman Catholic instruction in order to be prepared for First Communion. I obviously didn't go to First Communion, but I went through the whole motion. And occasionally I had to go to the Roman Catholic Church, and subsequently once in a while I would go and see what was what. At university in Ghent, after having graduated here from Newbold College, I visited various churches, and I even became part and parcel of a Roman Catholic student congregation. I sat right at the back, and it helped me. At the moment we have lots of experience in visiting different places. I have lots of exposure to Judaism, Judaic thinking, and guess what it's done to me as an individual? Having seen and grown up with this faith in perspective of other faiths, has it made me more wishy-washy? No. It's done the opposite. I've become more convinced than ever about the uniqueness of this particular denomination, with this particular faith, with these particular sets of doctrines, than ever at any time. Why? Because there's this one magic word that I want to leave with you: perspective. Look at what there is out there to appreciate what there is in here. May God help you in that quest. Amen.
Thank you, John, for sharing your story with us this morning.